Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Today we are discussing a handsome and versatile watch that makes the most of gems on a man's watch. That is always a difficult equation to balance. And Rolex probably does it better than any other brand in the business, as this 116519LN is gloriously resplendent with gray gold case, ceramic bezel, mother of pearl dial, and brilliant cut diamond indices. 40 millimeters in diameter, the watch measures 12.3 millimeters thick, and from lug to lug, 47.7 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it hugs the wrist, short across the forearm. It's suitable for a smaller wrist. I would even recommend it for a wrist as small as 13 centimeters in circumference. It is flat and flush, and it will fit underneath a dress cuff. It could be a formal timepiece. You can see this down the barrel shot reveals I have plenty of clearance on both sides of my wrist. And taking a look at the hardware and the software, I should mention that this Oysterflex strap is in fact the Oysterflex bracelet, as there is a titanium alloy band that runs through the interior of the strap, so you can't tear it or cut it. It's thick. It has vulcanized rubber, it's very soft, and as you can see there are bellows on the underside to create an air pocket to vent the wrist, but also to act as a sort of spring retainer to cinch the watch down and fit it to the wrist. Even if your wrist isn't exactly the size of the strap, the fact that it has that spring-loaded bellows-like structure ensures that it will work with you to find a good match and a fit. Now inside you can see there is a Easy Link system, which is basically a 5 millimeter in and out tool-free adjustment, but then there are 3 divots drilled inside the clasp, and you can see them. They have little tracks leading in, and those 3 divots allow you to use a strap tool to re-anchor the bracelet inside of the clasp to change its anchoring point and alter the size. The clasp, like the watch, is gray gold, which is an 18-karat white gold alloy that, unlike traditional white gold, is not plated with rhodium. So if you were to scratch it, there's just more white gold underneath. That's the advantage of gray gold, and Rolex makes its own at its own foundry. It also makes its own cases, clasps, and bracelets, so when you buy a Rolex, it is all Rolex. The Daytona has long featured a sexier case than some of the other sports watches, as it never adopted the super case profile with its sheer sides and squared off lugs. We have a fluid form. Light dances with the grace of fire over the sides of this watch, polished on the flank as well as the lug hoods. There's a little bit of contrasting brushed and polished finish for that end link that concludes the profile of the strap. And then turning around to the crown side, you can see there is a triplock crown in white gold. You know it's gold because it has the large center dot, and 3 dots total tells you it is a triplock. Screw down crown, screw down chronograph pushers, 100 meters water resistant. The bezel is scratch resistant ceramic. The indices and numerals, as well as the characters, these are all platinum deposits inside the ceramic bezel so that they can never oxidize or tarnish. They will always remain sharp against the black base. The dial is mother of pearl, and the nuance is outstanding. Take note that all of the diamond indices are set on a white gold base. Each of the individual registers has a polished chapter ring, and then you have tri-Arabic numerals at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock for the quarters of the hour, and a white gold Rolex crown. The 5-point coronet on top of a Rolex manufacturer caliber 4130. Under the reverse side, it was one of the first Rolex movements to adopt a rotor bearing instead of a jeweled staff, which made it, when it debuted back in 2000, one of the most shock-resistant Rolex calibers to date. It is bidirectional winding with a 72-hour power reserve. It pivots on 44 jewels. It has stop seconds. It has both a vertical clutch and a column wheel for chronograph actuation, a full balance bridge, and a free sprung index for shock tolerance. And it has a Breguet overcoil hairspring made by hand and 5-position adjustment to help it earn a COSC chronometer certification. But beyond that, Rolex then cases up the certified movement and retimes it in 6 positions, not the chronometer 5, so that the watch is accurate to no worse than -2 + 2 seconds per day. That is the so-called superlative chronometer standard. +2 -2 over 24 hours. Now that overcoil hairspring is made of a blue oxidized niobium zirconium that Rolex calls Parachrom Blue, which also makes this a highly anti-magnetic watch, and it beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour or 8 beats per second. This is a timepiece that does it all. Glorious, and finally finding a way to include diamonds on a man's watch without seeming over-refined. This is a timepiece that has the ruggedness of the Daytona and the Oysterflex externally, with the grace and refinement of mother of pearl, white gold, and diamonds internally. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Rolex Daytona MOP dial by night. It's like a lightsaber battle's about to break out.